The 98 Craftsman Truck Series season has been full of surprises. 5 first-time winners have been to victory lane. But with just 6 races remaining, former champs Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague will battle for the championship, with Joe Ruttman within striking distance. Today they cross the gateway into uncharted territory for the inaugural running of the Ram Tough 200. Welcome to the gateway to the west. We're beneath the arch. They're following the home run battle between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. While on the east side of the Mississippi, not far away, within sight of that famed arch, NASCAR celebrates its 50th anniversary, and here the fans will watch a struggle of a different style, the struggle for the championship. It's the Ram Tough 200 presented by Pepsi. Today's race on TNN, and the first time that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has visited Gateway International Raceway, where Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday are locked up in this championship points battle, and Randy Pemberton is in their midst.
Well, there are actually 3 guys slugging it out for the 1998 NASCAR Craftsman Championship, and one of them is Ron Hornaday. He is second in the points standings. The 1996 Series champion. He comes into this race with 6 victories, including last Sunday in Memphis, Tennessee. That's right, Ron Hornaday is now 15 points behind Jack Sprague, who is the current points leader and the defending series champion. Sprague comes into here with 4 victories on the 1998 campaign. He will start his GMAC Chevrolet, a Hendrick Motorsports truck, from the 3rd position. But as I said, there are more than just 2 guys battling for this title. 53-year-old Joe Ruttman is also in this fight. He is 88 points behind. He will start his Roush Racing Exide Ford truck from the outside front row here this afternoon at Gateway. His last victory was May 30th at Watkins Glen on the road course. But everybody is going to be chasing the guy on the pole. It's another Roush Racing truck. This time it's 28-year-old Greg Biffle. He is the Cintas Rookie of the Year leader so far, 11th in points. The guy is getting ready to go after his 3rd pole position of the year. Greg, you've done it all so far this year, but you haven't stuck one in victory lane. What do you got to do that today?
Well, I think the truck was real good in the last practice. The guy's working hard. Just, you know, pit strategies are going to be a lot here. Just be calm and good pit stops, and be there when the end.
Okay, good luck to you. He's on the pole with a lap of 131.218 miles per hour. Now let's go back topside to the man that will call all the action here today, Mike Joy.
Thanks, Randy, and hello, everybody. This is the 3rd new racetrack that the Truck Series has visited this year, and on each of the 2 prior occasions, Ron Hornaday was the man in victory lane. Quite a number of the truck teams tested here a little earlier in the season, and I think those teams may have found something, a little something different behind the motor that's going to help them quite a bit today, because this is a very uniquely shaped racetrack. Now, this is not the first NASCAR race ever held here. Last July, NASCAR's Busch Series came to Gateway. It was the hottest day of the year. The asphalt surface was brand new, and there were nothing but yellow flags, 14 of them. 81 of the 240 laps were run under caution, and 10 of those caution flags came right at the spot you're seeing. Turn 2, the exit of Turn 2 was treacherous. Mike Hogwood joins us. He's standing in Calamity Corner.
Mike, one of the big reasons for all those cautions in that Busch race was the fact that the track started tearing up here in Turn 2. Well, they've repaved it here, and that's not going to be a problem here today, but there's still going to be plenty of excitement here. Turns 1 and 2 a lot tighter than turns 3 and 4. It's not going to be easy for these trucks to get through here. One of the big concerns is getting the power coming up off of Turn 2. To do that, some of the drivers will even be shifting in the middle of the turn. I don't think we're going to see all that many cautions here today, but I do think, Mike, we are going to see a lot of excitement here.
Thanks, Mike. I would agree. I'm joined by Chuck Bowen, the former Busch Series champion of NASCAR, who started in a Roush truck on the pole at Orlando in the first race this year. What a speedway. Turns 3 and 4 are shaped much like you'd expect from a 1.25 mile racetrack. But turns 1 and 2, the radius is so tight it looks more like a 1/2 or 3/4 mile track. How do you deal with two very different ends of a track like this?
Well, it's a trick, and none of the teams really know all this stuff for sure. You know, they haven't been here before. There's a lot of unknowings. I think that the Ram Tough 200 name will live up to it today. I think it's going to be exciting.
Well, now, what about shifting? Some of these teams have 2 top gears in the transmission.
Well, there's a lot of experimenting going on. You know, they lost Thursday. They had an open practice on Thursday, but it rained, so nobody run a lap. But they still got quite a bit of practice. Some guys are going to try shifting. Some guys are set up for turns 1 and 2. Some guys are set up for turns 3 and 4. Who knows what it's going to take to win today?
They'll race each other and they'll race the racetrack. Tim Bender, the zone manager for Chrysler Corporation, has given the command to fire them up. We'll be right back with the starting lineup here on TNN.
Go hard, bud. A lot of rear damage. A lot of rear damage. Right front of you. Right front of
you. Tough 200 presented by Pepsi on TNN Motorsports. Here's your AutoZone prep for the race. More than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, best parts in auto parts. 32 trucks start today. It's 160 laps on this 1.25 mile speedway. They can comfortably go 60 laps on a tank of fuel. 70 is about the max. It's the inaugural race, so there is no record for the trucks here. Here's our GM starting grid. Chevy trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. Bring you the lineup today. Third pole of the year and second in a row for leading series rookie Greg Biffle. Joe Ruttman, who won at Watkins Glen. Second row, Jack Sprague with 4 wins. He's the point leader. And Rick Corelli, new crew chief. He started third, led last week at Richmond. He's up on the second row today. Jay Sauter, second at Memphis last week. Ron Hornaday, who won there. That's 6 wins this season for Hornaday. Row 4, Lonnie Rush, top 5 at IRP last month. And Rick Crawford, the winner at Homestead. Row 5, Mike Bliss, who won at Milwaukee, and Ron Barfield had a 4th up at Loudon. Lance Norrick, second best ever start position for him. And Tony Roper, second at Raceway Park. Row 7, Tony Raines, 4th in points with 3 wins, and Jimmy Hensley, who won in Nashville. Row 8 is Brian Reffner, who's now in the Brad Doherty. Jim Herricone truck, Butch Miller, who won at Colorado in '95. Andy Houston, number 2 rookie, thanks to his Loudon win, and Terry Cook, who won at Flemington. Mike Wallace is the hometown favorite, and Boris Said, who finished second at Texas. Kevin Harvick, fastest to the second round qualifiers, and Dennis Setzer, who replaces Bob Keselowski for the rest of this year. Scott Walters and Stacy Compton, a 2-time winner this season. Row 13, Randy McDonald moves into the 26 truck, and Randy Renfro in a Dodge. Randy Tolsma, pole sitter at Indy. He's headed elsewhere next year. Tell you more about that later. Tom Hubert, Matt Hutter, only his second truck start. Kevin Sawinski, ASA champ, Chris Horn, and Danny Bagwell, a couple of rookies. Horn makes his 3rd start of the year, Bagwell his 1st. We're going to be riding along with several drivers today. There is Tony Roper. He will start 12th. That's the Tom Gloy Bobby Rahal Ice House beer machine. Ron Hornaday Jr., the Napa Brakes. Number 16, starting in 6th spot. Rick Corelli just ahead. Mike Bliss, Snap-on Tools, Wagner Brakes, Team ASE, Ultra Wheels, Ford. There, I got them all in for Bliss and the Jimmy Smith truck. And Dennis Setzer in the Keselowski, number 29, the Mopar Dodge. The number 18, that is Butch Miller, who will start 16th in the Dana Parts Dodge. And Boris Said, Federated Auto Parts, Ford from Irwin Simo Racing, starting 20th. Those are our in-cars as they round up into turn 3 and 4 and get set for a start here. 160 laps, 2 pit stops, perhaps 3.
Well, Mike, you know, both guys in the front row recently, Biffle and Ruttman, sat on the pole, and both jumped the start when the initial start of the race began. I wonder if in the history of NASCAR, if we've ever seen the entire front row black flagged. This could be interesting.
Jackie Joyner Kersey, the famed sprinter.
Go, 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 go.
Waves the green flag and we're off. Her husband Bob, noted trainer and big NASCAR fan. Oh, contact between Hornaday and Sauter as they got down into turn 1. Everything shakes out okay.
Looks like Biffle got off to a good jump on Ruttman at the very start. There was talk he might choose the outside position on the front row before the race started, but he took the pole like a guy usually does.
Pole sitter has the option which side of the front row to start. There's Sauter right up behind Hornaday. First lap leader is Biffle. Big challenge at second spot. You're with Mike Bliss. One truck way up there toward the paint. Gathered it back in.
That was Ruttman.
Yeah.
Second fastest qualifier. Must have got into one too hard, or maybe he had a little help and got bumped. I didn't see it, but he got way up by the wall.
Hornaday goes for second. Ruttman trying to get his tires cleaned off there as he battles Barfield. It's Hornaday and Sauter now second, third. And fourth is Corelli. Or excuse me, fourth is Sprague, fifth is Corelli.
Biffle's jumping out like a rabbit. He's getting a pretty good lead, but you know, he's been fast all weekend. He won the practice prior to qualifying, backed it up sitting on the pole, and then he was fastest again in this morning's practice.
Here comes Corelli after Jack Sprague. Got a good run on Sprague off turn 2, takes the inside line away at turn 3. Back behind the leader Biffle, second, third. There's your battle for fourth.
Side by side. Sprague and Corelli.
Roper moving up fast.
He's wondering which lane's going to go. That's where he wants to go, but it looks like Sprague's going to get the best of him down in turn 1.
Roper's had some strong runs since joining that Tom Gloy team.
He's coming right along. He really is. He's been awful close to a win. Got a second place finish in Indianapolis not long ago.
You see he lost just a little bit of ground to Corelli getting off turn 4.
Right now everybody starts with low air pressure. They're really not sure what their truck's going to do. They've practiced on worn tires. Now they've got a good set of tires on with low air pressures. It's just a matter of waiting a few laps to see who's got what.
As they went into turn 1, Jay Sauter ducked underneath Ron Hornaday and took over second spot. So it's Ford, Chevy, 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 Chevy.
There's got to be a Dodge in there somewhere.
8th race that Greg Biffle has led this year. He is taking off. Hornaday has a look down underneath Sauter. He may find some room here. Sauter just kicked that truck.
Now Sauter's running a little different line than Hornaday through turns 1 and 2, but it's working. He's able to stay in front of him.
Chuck, we've seen 3 different lines down in that corner. A low line where the driver tries to hug the curb. A diamond line like you'd run a short track, sweep up in the middle of the corner and drop back down. And there's some drivers going right around the high groove, and they think after watching tapes of the IndyCar race and some of the other events here, they think running a high line all the way around that corner might work.
Well, the setups under these trucks have varied just as much. Everybody kind of does their own thing. It's whatever works for you. Right now, these, you know, second, third, fourth, and fifth, they look pretty equal. They're tied up in a pretty good battle. Biffle's run off from them, but it's a good race for second right now.
For more on what happened to Joe Ruttman, here's Randy.
Mike, he just got popped, which sent him up the racetrack, but the team stood at attention the next time by because Joe came over the radio and said, I may have a tire going down. He may have heated him up in a hurry. He put that truck in a 4-tire slide. One thing you don't want to do here is abuse the tires, particularly in an early run where you put a little wear on them and they may not come back around. These teams only get 4 sets of tires when they come here for the weekend. After practicing on a set, they'll have 3 left after the ones they qualified on, and you only get to use 2 per caution. So really, tire strategy going to be a thing. You do not want to abuse those tires, and I think that's what happened to Joe Ruttman doing that 4-tire slide up in 1.
Randy's on the way back. Move Ruttman up to 7th. There you see him slide the truck just a bit in front of Tony Roper, who he just passed. And Rick Crawford has moved up a notch into 6th position as well. We'll be right back with you live here on TNN. 200 on TNN. Mike Joy with Chuck Bound, Randy Pemberton, Mike Hogwood with you today. This man, Greg Biffle, has taken off from the pole. At lap 6, he had a 2.5-second gap on Jay Sauter. Now he's opened up 3.2 seconds on Ron Hornaday. There's Ron with Jack Sprague in tow. Jay Sauter has slipped to 4th. Rick Corelli 5th. Then Joe Ruttman, Rick Crawford, Ron Barfield, Tony Roper and Mike Bliss as the top 10.
Yeah, just as we went to break, Ron Hornaday was past the 3 truck of Jay Sauter, and then a few laps later he passed Sprague, and he's moving up. I think he's got a little more truck than he's been showing, and also Rutman slipped clear to 10th. He moved up to 7th now, so he's getting back into it.
Here comes Mike Bliss on the inside of Roper. This is for 9th place.
Looks like Roper's got a little damage on the left front fender there. I'm not sure what happened. He was running a little bit stronger, and he's been falling back. In fact, he's got damage all down the left side. I didn't see who he got together with, but he's rubbed with somebody.
Those first few laps as Joe Rutman got drop kicked back to 9th spot. I think Roper was involved in all of that, and Rutman is back up to 6th. So he's coming. He's got a fast truck today. There you see Mike Bliss pull away from Tony Roper. And right behind Roper comes Tony Raines in another Ford. So the first half of the top 10, except for Biffle, is Chevys, and the second half of the top 10 are Fords. You asked about the Dodges. The first of those looks like Jimmy Hensley in 12th.
Well, he's moved up. He qualified 14th. He's been struggling a little bit this weekend. I was talking to him. He was driving pretty good. He just wasn't quite as fast as he'd like to be, but I feel as this race unwinds, he'll be there.
Tony Raines having a look inside of Roper. Raines in the 19 Pennzoil truck. Let's show you a little of what happened to Tony Roper just a little bit ago here. That was Rick Crawford giving a little Texas hello to the
yeah, he's got a little sheet metal damage on the left front, and he may have bent his toe. They slapped pretty good, and if he bent the toe, it may have picked up the push, and that's why Tony's falling back.
(16 of 160 laps complete), and here's Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday, the 2-point leaders. They're running 2nd and 3rd, just about a 1/10 of a second apart.
When Hornaday made the pass on the 24, I thought he was going to pull away, but it looks like Sprague's going to keep right with him.
Round out of turn 4, back down to the start-finish line. And here's Rick Corelli getting underneath Jay Sauter. Corelli's fortunes have really turned around. In the last 10 races or so, he had scored less points than all but 2 of the trucks that have started every race so far this year over the last 5 races. But now they've made a crew chief change. They're on Rick Corelli with Rodney Haygood taking over, and qualified on the 2nd row and running up toward the front.
You know, it's back there in turns 1 and 2. Sauter had to run the high line because Corelli had gotten underneath him, and that just kind of opened the door for Joe Rutman. So Joe moved up a position too, and Sauter's back to 6th, Rutman up to 5th, and Corelli's up to 4th.
Let's go to Sauter's pit. Here's Mike.
Well, Jay Sauter says it's 1 and 2 that he's getting through okay, but in 3 and 4, his truck is really, really loose right now, and that's what's causing him to slide back just a little bit.
Yeah, he's all over Joe Rutman coming out of 2 and down the back straightaway here. Now let's see what happens to the gap. Yeah, going into 3, Rutman opens up a truck length.
You know, these guys really are kind of guessing at what their trucks are going to do in a long run. They have not raced here before. There's no data to go by from the past, so everybody's guessing just a little bit.
20 laps complete next time by. Greg Biffle leading Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, Rick Corelli, and Joe Rutman, and they're closing in on Biffle. We'll be right back. We're just running into a bunch of traffic. He's past Bagwell and Renfro, and now Randy McDonald as the 11 makes its way. Matt Hutter down onto pit lane.
Yeah, traffic has really slowed Greg down. Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague have closed right in. They're pretty much there now. They were you know, a few seconds behind a couple laps ago, but traffic makes a big difference. Right
front is gone on Hutter's car, it looks like, flailing around there.
Yeah, he must have a flat. The top of the hood was bouncing pretty good.
And caution is coming out.
Probably debris on the track from that flat tire. Yeah, there's rubber probably going everywhere.
That's what's left of it. Let's check with Randy.
No, I just wanted to make you guys aware of this. These trucks are so aerodynamically sensitive these days. Some of them do get to the wind tunnel, but they don't spend a lot of time working on aerodynamics, but just enough. Here's what the Biffle team just said to Greg just moments ago. When he was coming up on traffic, they made him aware of not to stick that nose up underneath somebody because they didn't want that truck to push off of that very sensitive turn 2. They got a lot of laps to go here, and they didn't want him to put it in the wall early on, so they're constantly coaching this young 28-year-old.
It's hard to hold one back. You know, you got that fast of a track and you're hungry and you want to win bad, and it's a job to hold a guy back, but I believe I'd rather hold one back than try to push him ahead.
Yeah, you saw a shot of Randy Goss there, who's the crew chief for Jack Roush there for Greg Biffle. Almost had a win in his pocket, you know, there at Memphis. And, they tried to go a long stop strategy, and it bit him. He ended up running out of tire.
Yeah, the circumstances with the current rules of 2 tires per caution are very interesting. Looks like he's going to come on to pit road. Greg Biffle, the leader.
That is kind of a surprise, Chuck. At 23 laps,
it's pretty early. You know, I guess they want to extend their fuel window. You don't really want to pit under green here if you get caught. And so far, the race has been going pretty clean. Had that 11 truck not cut the tire down, we'd still be green.
Randy, I'm real surprised that that race leader Greg Biffle would come in here at only 23 laps. Randy will be there when Greg Biffle gets down the pit lane. He'll surrender the lead to Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, Rick Corelli, and Joe Ruttman. Now also on pit road, Butch Miller and Mike Bliss. Ron Barfield is in. Dennis Setzer, Stacy Compton, Randy Tolsma. A lot of the trucks further back. Randy?
Well, what we were talking about before, that truck potentially pushing up in turn 2, they're going to make an adjustment to try and loosen it up just a tick for them. They don't want to push it up, like I said, and getting it to the wall. I believe they're going to go ahead and pull a rubber out. Yes, they certainly did. On the right rear, they pulled the rubber out, so they're going to go ahead and give up track position. It's a long race, and they know they have a strong horse. Lots of other guys on pit road as well.
Here they come off pit road. There's Tolsma closest to the bottom of the screen. And Dennis Setzer, who will drive for Bob Keselowski the rest of the season. And Mike Bliss. The news is out that Bliss will not be returning to Jim and Marlene Smith's team in 1999. And not sure just where he will be headed. There's Bliss coming off pit road and trying to keep those tires clean of any rubber debris. As we roll around under caution here at Gateway, first caution of the day, debris on the track, apparently from Matt Hutter, who had cut a tire just a little bit ago. And I am really surprised at Greg Biffle giving up the lead to come in this early and get off cycle with the rest of these teams.
So it looks like Biffle's probably the only top 10 guy to come in, but a lot of the rest of them came in. But that's a guess. You just don't know. It may play off great in his hand, and it may not. At this point in time, it's just hard to say.
All right, time for our AutoZone Tech Fact. The more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America, AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts, lead you to Mike Bliss, who talks about a new seating system developed for his truck.
As a race car driver, we're always looking for safety. After my accident in Texas, which I broke my shoulder blade, I went to a different style of seat built by Randy LaJoy, which offers more support here in your shoulder area than your rib area. I also started using a molded seat insert developed by BSCI, a company here in Mooresville, North Carolina.
To create a customized seat insert, we go to the race shop, meet with the driver to discuss his wants and needs. Then the first step is to fabricate an energy absorbent shell, which is placed inside the aluminum seat itself. The next step is we take the energy absorbing shell that we fabricated and place it inside of a plastic bag. This then put back into the aluminum seat. We mix up a liquid formula, pour it into the bottom of the bag. The driver sits in it. It takes 10 minutes for the material to custom mold to the driver's body. After that 10 minutes is up, the driver gets out of the seat. We take the insert itself out and trim off all the excess material around the edges. Basically, what BSCI has done is develop a seat insert that is impact absorbent and is an added safety feature that also keeps the driver comfortable.
Now they need is a little footrest to pop up, and a little recliner, and a little nice leather upholstery, and a cup holder, folks.
And air conditioning.
Good to go. The leader of the race becomes Ron Hornaday. Let's go to his pit. Here's Mike.
Well, Ron Hornaday, as you guys talked about the possibilities of shifting some and shifting not, well, he has been shifting about once every 3 laps. He takes a lap and he shifts it into high gear. Well, in high gear, that 16 truck has developed a vibration. So crew chief Fred Graves has told him not to shift anymore for a while. They want to let the transmission kind of cool off. Hopefully they won't be feeling that vibration anymore, but there is a little look of concern here in the Hornaday pit.
Long way to go in this race to have a vibration.
26 laps complete. We're going to go green this time. First caution of the day complete. Pole sitter and race leader Greg Biffle came on to pit road among the contenders. So did Stacy Compton, Randy Tolsma, Ron Barfield, Dennis Setzer, Butch Miller, and Mike Bliss all made pit stops, and they'll be tail end. One truck real slow. That looks like the 28 coming.
Get ready, Jim.
Corner. Oh, trying to get lined up here. Well,
go, 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 go,
and
go,
they get a green. Real close on the start-finish line.
That was a slow restart as well, up real close to the start-finish line, but it's a pretty good start. Everybody seems to be pretty equal.
Andy Houston tries to fan out there. That yellow and red number 60 comes up alongside Lance Norrick. Single file among the front runners, and then things get real busy in the middle of the pack here.
They sure do. These restarts are they're rubbing already. There, Lance Norrick just had a little rub with Andy Houston in the 60 truck.
And here comes Mike Wallace and Kenny Schrader's 52. Now you ride with Butch Miller. Dennis Setzer up on the outside in the Mopar Dodge. Mike Wallace had quite a homecoming here in St. Louis this week.
And he got to throw out the famous first pitch at St. Louis Cardinal Stadium, didn't he?
Yep. It was a strike, Kenny Schrader said. A 46-mile-an-hour fastball.
I bet Mark would have liked to swing at that one. Huh?
Yeah, Jimmy Hensley threw out the second pitch, and it was a little wild.
They're 3 wide down that back straightaway now. They sandwiched a lap car between 78 and Randy Renfro. Took it to the inside, 3 wide. Everything's fine. Everybody's clean.
Riding with Setzer, looking back at Ron Barfield. Boy, the lap traffic. We've got a few fellows that are running either their first or third race in this series, and veterans are finding their way around, but it's a little tough sledding.
The 28 truck's kind of having a hard time. He's getting stuck in the middle more than he would like. But that's part of the deal out here. Nobody's going to wait on you. They've got to go.
All right, Ron Hornaday's your leader. Jack Sprague is staying very close on him, and Rick Corelli, more competitive than he's been in the last half dozen races, is right there in third with Joe Ruttman and Jay Sauter. We'll be right back. Lead at Gateway International. Ron Hornaday leads Jack Sprague. It's the 14th race of the year that Hornaday has led. He leads the league in number of races led and laps led, 743 of them going into today's race. Now let's go down to the leader's pit. Mike Hogwood.
Well, there's a sigh of relief down here. That vibration that Ron Hornaday reported has not gone, and he has not shifted again. And I think that shifting idea is forgotten for the rest of the day, because he's able to maintain that lead and that margin without shifting into a higher gear. Randy Pemberton.
I just want to correct something that I said moments ago on the 50 truck of Greg Biffle. I assumed that because he was pushing coming off a 2 that truck was tight. Should have known. Took the rubber out of the right rear, changed 2 right side tires. It was indeed loose. I guess we know that's why I do this. I should do a little better job of it, and I'm not a crew chief.
I was going to question you, Randy, but I thought I'd let it go.
I was looking for that rubber. I couldn't see if it came out of the right front or the right rear, and I missed it.
Yep, there are 4 Pemberton brothers in racing, and some of them are crew chiefs.
And, you know, he was 17th, I believe I counted, after that pit stop on the restart. He's moved back up into the top 10 now. He's coming. That truck is fast.
Greg Biffle looking for that breakthrough win in the Craftsman Truck Series.
35-2.
Credits Benny Parsons.
If you can just ease out of it right there at the end, you'll save our motor a little bit longer.
Biffle credits Benny Parsons with getting him to ride with Jack Roush. He was running that Repco Northwest Tour and doing a great job up there, and Parsons brought Biffle's name to the attention of Jack, and the rest, as they say, is history. You're watching the Napa Field Standing Update. Napa, we keep America running. Jimmy Hensley having a look on the inside there.
No, actually, Biffle just
works his way around.
Jimmy
That's right.
on the inside. Yep. Moved up to 9th.
Joe Ruttman running hard just in front of Jay Sauter as they work their way underneath the 26. Randy McDonald aboard that truck this week. Here comes Tony Raines with a fender underneath Sauter. No, I don't think so. Not this time.
Randy was having some trouble and got caught in the pits on that restart, and so he was about a half lap behind when the green came out, so it didn't take him too long to run him down and put him a lap down. But Ruttman and Sauter and Tony Raines are having a good battle.
4 Chevys and a Ford in the top 5. Ruttman is the Ford. He's in 4th place.
This is 4th, 5th, and 6th that we're watching here. Ruttman 4th, Sauter 5th, and Tony Raines in 6th.
One truck way high in turn 1. Is it Terry Cook? Yep, it is. And he's going to keep it out of the gutter and bring it back on the speedway. But now his tires are all covered with marbles, and it's going to take a while to shake those off. But he did avoid the wall. Forrest Sett and Scott Walters. Walters in 37. That's Sett on the high side in 44 to lose the spot. And Cook is going to come in.
Yeah, maybe he cut one down, and that's what got him up there high. If it was just marbles, he'd keep going and clean them off. But evidently, he has cut a right front tire. That right front air dam's about to drag the track.
Chase Sauter and Joe Ruttman side by side. Fourth place.
Clear.
Sauter goes by. Here comes Raines.
15 truck's going to get him too. He's right behind you. Plenty of room.
Chase Sauter's spotter. Yvonne Swain. As they now run 5, 6, 7. Let's get out of Terry Cook's pit, Mike.
Well, you're indeed right. It's a flat tire. Gary Showalter and the crew taking this opportunity to change right side tires. Now, they are under green, so they do have the option of changing all 4 tires. Boy, that tire is just shredded. That came off the right front.
Now, even though
a little bit long time on this pit stop here. Just a 2-tire stop, and Terry Cook is down and away.
Yeah, he's going to end up losing 2 laps as a result. Tough break because Cook
fortunately he didn't hit the wall.
Yes, he's really come on strong this second half of the season. Ron Hornaday is your race leader. Jack Sprague runs in second. Rick Corelli's third. Jay Sauter and Tony Raines, the top 5 here at Gateway.
I can't tell exactly what's happened. He's got into it pretty good, though. He's going to have some serious damage on pit road.
Wasn't a very hard hit. Saw his dad, Tommy Houston. He raced a lot of laps with, carrying his grandchild around the pits here. And
it looks like he's really having a good time watching Andy race, and Andy's doing a good job. He's got the victory lane already this year as a rookie. That's hard to do in the Craftsman Truck Series.
He slapped the wall pretty hard up in 1. The whole right side has a lot of damage. Let's go to the leader's pit as Ron Hornaday brings the field in.
Well, here comes Ron Hornaday in. They're going to change right side tires. He is running great right now, but I mentioned that concern about the transmission and the vibration. Well, Ron Hornaday just reported a moment ago that he can smell transmission fluid. That's not a good sign. They're hoping it doesn't mean bad things. Car stalls just a little bit, but Hornaday is down and away. To Randy Pemberton.
50 of Greg Biffle is in. A track bar adjustments. Left side tires only. Right side tires for Jack Sprague. He's down and away as Ron Hornaday. The 3 of Sauter goes by. The 6 of Corelli goes by. Now Joe Ruttman has left the pit. Great pit stops for all these guys down in this end of pit road.
You saw Rick Wren running around the front of Andy Houston's truck after making that repair. And it looks like they're going to push him to the garage. Tough day for Andy.
That's too bad. He's wrapped up in that rookie battle with Greg Biffle, and I feel like they'll probably go to the garage and try to get him repaired and back into the race, but he's got some pretty serious problems.
Mike, what's the story?
They do have some problems to fix, but what Andy reported to his crew chief a moment ago, he said, man, that right front tire was junk. It just blew up on him, and that sent him right into the wall, and they have messed up the chassis, and they're going to try to get it fixed, try to get him back out there. As you mentioned, he is in a battle for those rookie points, so they hope their day is not over.
Well, first Terry Cook, and now Andy Houston apparently cutting down a right front going into turn 1. Cook kept it off the wall. Houston wasn't so lucky. And it was pretty crowded getting out of pit road. There goes Ruttman. Tired getting out of the way. That slowed Greg Biffle up just a little bit. Now look at Ron Barfield as we go to break. You're watching the Craftsman Truck Series on TNN. Stayed out and did not pit. They had all pitted back at lap 23. So Ron Barfield, Stacy Compton, and Kevin Harvick are the race leaders ahead of Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday, and Jay Sauter. Let's go down to the pits first to Mike with Andy Houston.
Yeah, tough break for you, Andy. What happened?
Well, went off in turn 1 and the right front tire was flat. I don't know if it had run over something, cut it down, or if it come apart, but truck had a little bit of a push in it, and we were struggling just to keep up, and we're going to adjust it on the stop there, but just went in, and before I knew it, turned the wheel and wasn't nothing there. But it's been a tough couple weeks for our Addington Chevrolet, and we'll be back. We'll go get them at Martinsville.
And I also understand they have no brakes now. You're having to change all the rotors in the pad?
Yeah, what happened, I guess when I hit the wall, it busted the right front brake rotor on it, so they got to put a new rotor and redo the brakes a little bit.
Tough day for the rookie, Andy Houston.
Now Greg Biffle is back in the pits. This is his second stop, and they have the left side up.
Looks like they either have a problem or they're making a pretty major adjustment, but his truck was so fast, I can't imagine a major adjustment.
Well, they had just come in from left side tires, and you're only allowed to change 2 tires under any one caution. Now, Tony Raines is coming in. He's passed the pace truck and come all the way around to come to pit lane. Randy, what's up?
Well, just before that caution, these guys noticed that they have a little engine problem. So they went from 13th into challenging inside the top 5. They believe it could possibly be a valve spring. They're not sure. They have now shut the engine off. He sits here on pit road. A little concern up and down pit road after everybody took a look at those tires. We have seen a couple of right fronts go now. We did look up and down pit road, and there was some excessive wear on the outer edge of right front tires. So we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the remainder of this race. They're going to continue to work on Tony Raines' machine.
Now, that's surprising. Billy Hodges, the Goodyear tire engineer here, told me that this is the same tire they have run at the last 3 truck races. They used it at Memphis, and the teams just reported that the tire's a little slower responding here than it was at Memphis. Of course, it may generate a little more heat with these speeds and the speeds they're running through the corners here, but it is thicker, a thicker tread surface than the tire that was used here last year for the Busch race. And the Goodyear folks, even through practice this morning, did not anticipate any problems. So we'll see. 49 laps of 160 are complete here at Gateway International in the Craftsman truck's first visit here to St. Louis.
He's parked his Pennzoil Ford. Boy, tough break, Tony. You were going to the front.
We had an awesome truck. You know, we had a good truck this morning in practice, and we had a bunch of yellow freight people here. And you know, I think if we'd have made it to the end, we'd have had a good race truck and we'd have had a good finish. But you know, we haven't had any motor problems all year, and either dropped the valve or something broke. It's definitely hurt, and you know, our day's over. But we'll get after it in Martinsville.
Randy, how hot is it down there? I mean, it's not anything like it was here last July when it was over 100 degrees.
I'll be honest, Mike, it's not nearly as hot as it was about 20 or 30 minutes before this race took the green flag. So I can't imagine the track temperature is certainly all that hot. Going into turn 1, we even see some shade, of course, by the suites and condos down there, or at least the suites down there, shading that corner. But I don't know about the rest of the track, but it really isn't all that hot.
I think this racetrack, though, is going to be plenty hard on engines because the tightness of turns 1 and 2, you have to turn the motor so many RPM to get it to come off the corner and carry down the straightaway. I mean, I've heard numbers like 9,200 RPM,
Ooh.
and that's a lot.
Ooh. That's an awful lot.
It's probably not the first valve problem we'll see today.
All right, Danny Bagwell makes a pit stop, and we may see some of the other drivers toward the tail end of the lead lap as we get one to go make a top off from gas stop, and we do. The 84, Brian Reffner, comes in and stops the Porter Cable truck. Wayne Anderson, the All-Pro champion who started the season in that truck, released last week. Pretty much without comment from the race team. Remember that Anderson brought his sponsor to this team for this season, and the last 3 races Anderson had finished each one of them in the top 12 and on the lead lap, and they let him go.
It's a hard business.
Boy, it's really hard. Wayne Anderson.
My last race with Roush, I sat in the pole and led 120 laps, but then I get a call that my team's been dissolved. So believe me, this is a tough racket.
Now Reffner was let go by the Carlin Burners team, Dale Phelan's team, and became available. And that may have been the reason for the change. But Wayne Anderson's a talented driver. He's a proven NASCAR champion, and I think he deserved a better fate. Dennis Setzer has made a stop also to gas up, and so has the Tom Gloy truck for Tony Roper. And they're all topping off after making pit stops during this caution period. So a lot of different strategies in place here, not just how to run this racetrack, but how to get through 160 laps. Chris Morgan on the flag stand holds the green till everybody gets into the front straightaway. Ron Barfield out of Florence, South Carolina, is your race leader in the Charles Hardy Ortho Chevy. And Terry Cook's going to out drag race him into turn 1 and get back 1 of his 2 laps. Remember, Cook cut a tire earlier and lost 2 laps on a green flag stop.
Yeah, he qualified pretty well, and he's been running good all weekend, actually, in many of the races lately. But we'll have to see if he can keep that lap and get back into contention.
Ron Hornaday trying to move up. Right now he trails Randy Renfro in the MCI Dodge. Renfro a couple of laps down, 3 to be exact. And you heard Hornaday just kind of pedal it a little off turn 4.
Yeah, he's working that traffic. He's on the whole racetrack, so that makes it a little more difficult.
6th race of the year that Ron Barfield has led as they play strategy, as does Stacy Compton and Kevin Harvick. They all pitted at lap 23 and stayed out on this caution. So now Terry Cook, the 88, is now 1 lap down and the distance around the racetrack.
That was going to be my question. Did he get him on the lead lap, or is he still down 1?
Still down 1.
Harvick takes the lead from 35 truck there.
Yep, Kevin Harvick in the Spears Manufacturing 75 is the leader. Now they've got the passing flag out for Terry Cook, but he's just as fast as the leaders. I don't see that he's holding him up.
No.
He's going to give him a little room, though.
He's only 1 lap down. There's a long way to go in this race. He just kind of has to keep doing his thing and try to stay in front of him. Hope that caution comes real soon.
Watching the auto vent shade field standing update at the top of your screen. The original vent visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. And Cook may surrender that lap to Harvick. No, not this time as they come off 4. Challenge there at 2nd spot right behind them. As Barfield's going to get overhauled by Jack Sprague on the inside the blue truck.
Now Sprague's working his way back to the front fast with 2 new right side tires. He's picking them off. They'll be up there with Harvick in no time. This is where Terry Cook's problem is going to be. If he can hold off Harvick, fine, but I don't think he'll be able to hold off Sprague. He needs a caution now to get that lap.
And Rick Corelli got past Ron Hornaday. So that's for 5th place behind Stacy Compton. There's a look at those trucks on the right side of your screen. Right behind Barfield, the yellow truck.
The yellow truck of Barfield's being overhauled by a truck a couple laps down. He must have made a green flag pit stop. I know he wasn't off the pace on the racetrack, the 78 truck. He's been running fine. So I don't know. I'm not sure how he lost his time, his laps.
There's Corelli on the inside, and he might have slapped Barfield just a little, but he gets past.
Barfield got crowded a little bit. I think he's out of the throttle to keep it off the fence, and there they go.
They were 3 abreast there for a moment with Hornaday battling the 86 Stacy Compton, 35 Ron Barfield, and here comes 53-year-old Joe Ruttman in that 99 truck just behind. 3 abreast in the front straightaway for the lead. Sprague to the inside, takes it from Harvick. Here comes Harvick underneath them. Well, that worked for New York minute. And then Harvick almost lost it.
He's got to wiggle it pretty good. That's a classic move. Sprague running in real hard, taking the lead from the inside. He slipped in. And Harvick put the move back to the inside and Miller wanted to, but he couldn't keep it straight. He couldn't keep the gas down hard coming off too. He started wiggling it.
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't dive under Jack Sprague down there between 1 and 2. Here comes Corelli on the inside now. He's going to get past the 78 with Randy Renfro. Savvy, let's show you another look at this pass for the lead. It was a pretty bold one. Look at Sprague from the top to the bottom of the racetrack.
Man, did he get a run off turn 4 to be able to do that. I know he's got a good motor, but man.
That's what we in New England call the Ron Bouchard move, Talladega. Back in Bouchard's rookie season, he came off the last corner high, dropped under Terry Labonte and Darrell Waltrip, who thought they were racing for the lead to the flag, and Bouchard won it.
I was glad to see him get single file just by the time they got to the first turn, though. I don't think you want to go 3 abreast to get to that.
Yeah, you get to catch your breath here for a second. Look at Ruttman, 99. 25 years ago, Joe Ruttman ran his first Winston Cup race out of Riverside, California.
How many years ago?
25. You were just a kid, right?
I was more than that. He's still getting the job done, though. Joe's a tough racer.
Jack Sprague becomes the 5th different leader today. It's the 11th race of the season where Sprague has led.
I ran my first Winston Cup race more than 25 years ago. I promise you, Ruttman is a lot more than 25 years. Check that.
Would you believe 35?
That's more like it. Now we're getting to the ballpark.
Well, I didn't want either of us to be that old.
But he is still winning races. He's running well.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. Okay. 35 years. Let me start over. 35 years ago, it was 1963. Joe Ruttman ran his first Winston Cup race. It's one of those big numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty well. This is the top 10. All right, here's 3. Jay Sauter getting past Cook. He's going to take the 2 of Mike Bliss along with him.
Good job, buddy.
He finished 10th behind Freddie Lorenzen, Richard Petty, David Pearson, and Joe Weatherly in the Los Angeles Times 500.
That's impressive.
Still at it, still doing well. So Jack Sprague leads Rick Corelli, Kevin Harvick, Ron Barfield, Ron Hornaday, Joe Ruttman, Jay Sauter, Mike Bliss, and Mike Wallace. Sprague leading Rick Corelli, and Joe Ruttman has now come up for 3rd. Danny Bagwell's first Craftsman Truck Series race ends in the garage. He's pulled out of the race. And we'll have a little look back here. Past Sprague and Corelli and Ruttman to Ron Hornaday, moving on Kevin Harvick, and Jay Sauter coming with him. Chuck, it appears the trucks that did not pit and take on tires now are starting to slide back a bit.
Yeah, they are. Harvick's hanging in there the best he can, but they're going to overhaul him here as they're starting to now.
Harvick was one of those, so was Stacy Compton, and the other was Ron Barfield. Yep, there's Barfield's yellow truck, and he hangs on to 7th spot.
Biffle's getting back into the picture. He made an extra pit stop under that last caution, so he gave up all his track position, went clear to the back of the pack of the lead lap, and he's coming back into it right now. Sprague's trying to run away from the field like Biffle did earlier. I predict eventually we'll get to see those two racing each other.
Randy told us during break, the second stop for Biffle, they thought they had a wheel rubbing on a rotor, one of the brake calipers, that is, and brought him in to check it. Stacy Compton was one of 3 drivers who started this run of green flag racing at the front of the pack. Mike, what's happened to Stacy?
Well, he won't be going back to the front. Long faces here in the Compton pits. He has dropped the cylinder, and it's going to be a long rest of the day for truck number 86.
So there is Stacy Compton, and Mike Bliss is off the pace. And Jim Smith number 2, the Team ASE Ford. And it's Rick Corelli to the lead. How about that?
It wasn't just a few laps ago. Sprague had a pretty strong lead on Corelli, but Corelli has caught up to him and passed him. Maybe you don't want to be leading this race.
Maybe not. A little bit of smoke there from Jack Sprague's truck.
I thought I saw a little puff when they exited turn 4, but I didn't want to say anything until I checked it again here.
Rick Corelli got a breakthrough win at Bristol, Tennessee when they signed sponsor Remax. Remax sponsors the Remax Challenge Series that follows the truck race here at Gateway today. So they've got a 3rd race they're in today. There's a big balloon race lifting off from Forest Park in St. Louis here later this afternoon. A busy day for Davey Lee Liniger and those folks. All right, Mike Bliss is on pit road. Randy's there.
All he said was he came over the radio and said, I got one going down. Indeed he did. It was a right front all the way around. They're not happy in the Bliss pit.
Well, this will likely cost him 2 laps. At least 1, as it has the other drivers who've had to pit under green. Here's your MCI timing and scoring. NASCAR timing and scoring presented by MCI. Rick Corelli, your new leader at 72 laps. Jack Sprague, Joe Ruttman, Ron Hornaday, Jay Sauter, Kevin Harvick, and Ron Barfield. The top 7. Greg Biffle, pole sitter and early leader, is back up for 8th place.
It's unusual to see these flat tires. I don't know if they're just happen to be running over debris out there or if they're having a problem. They look real good in practice. And they're not slowing down that much. They're maintaining speed well, and they just look real good all weekend. And all of a sudden we've had 4 right front flat tires. It's just maybe it's just coincidence.
Lonnie Rush in the pits, qualified 7th, and Joe Ruttman's off the pace. Joe Ruttman drops down to the inside in the front straightaway, and he's going to go to the track apron and come around to the pits. This will likely cost Ruttman 2 to 3 laps. And from the attitude angle of that truck, Chuck, he may have lost a right front. Hard to see.
That's a tough
right here.
If it's a right front tire right there in the front stretch and have to go all the way around the racetrack here at about half speed, it's going to cost him big time.
It's also
it definitely looks like it's down. It's throwing debris out in the right front corner.
It won't go to the rim because Goodyear runs the safety interliners, the shields inside the tires at all the NASCAR tracks over 1 mile in distance and on the right sides at Bristol and Odessa along the short track. So if Ruttman has cut a tire, this is going to be real costly. Randy said on his first pit stop, Ruttman had just pretty well worn out the right front tire.
Yep.
35 years ago. All right, Randy's in Joe Ruttman's pit. Randy?
Well, speculation is once again that he may indeed have lost a right front, slow 45 miles an hour down pit road, trying to get a glimpse of the right side. From
it's down
here on pit road. It is indeed down. Boy, this is a tough situation for these guys. The only thing they can do really is to get their drivers to back off. They might be able to do a little bit of something with camber. Chuck may be able to expand on that a little bit, but they're going to change right side tires, send him back out. As you well know, he is probably down 2 laps by the time he gets back up to speed.
Well, and now they brought Biffle in. Ruttman's teammate, the pole sitter, Greg Biffle. He's coming in under the green, and he's got a right. Yes, he does. Randy?
Well, you guys can see it from there as well as I can. You know exactly what it is. Another right front tire. Wow, does it put these guys in a precarious position. What you're going to have to look at now is just running a pace to keep that right front tire from going away on these trucks. They went ahead and made an adjustment on the track bar, down and away. I wonder if 3 sets of tires is going to be enough for these guys here today.
I wonder, too. They simply might run out and have to park it. What are they going to do? But you mentioned camber earlier. In the previous rules for the Craftsman Truck Series, that would have been easy to do at halftime. But during the green flag or during quick caution, you really can't do it. The camber adjustment just takes too long to do during the race. But they've got problems.
Well, there's a lot of things that figure into a race team wearing out a tire to this extent. That may not be the tire's fault. Camber may be one of them. I mean, there are a lot of adjustments available to teams.
Air pressure has a big play in it. How hard you run it when it's new.
Don't burn your stuff up, Greg. We'll just have another flat, okay? Just hang.
Yeah, they're telling Greg just to hang, take it easy, and back off a little bit.
So Greg Biffle has gone from pole sitter and race leader mode to survival mode here. Survival for that truck. So there are a lot of variables, and a lot of them are dictated by the way the team sets up the truck. Rick Corelli is the class of the field here in St. Louis. We'll be right back. Showed up with a real scruffy looking beard here this week, and he said he wasn't going to shave until the team won. Well, head for the Gillette display there, George, because you may need it. Good run for Corelli today. Now Jack Sprague, his team has talked back and forth about a possible tire rub on his truck. A little bit of smoke that we saw might have been just that. Ron Hornaday's in 3rd, Jay Sauter's in 4th, Tom Hubert is in 5th. In Dale Phelan's Carlin Burners and controls number 66. Nice one race drive for Hubert. Started 28. Now he's climbed up to 5th place, his 3rd start of the season. Ran at Topeka and Louisville. Let's go down to Rick Corelli's pit. Here's Mike.
Well, they're obviously feeling good down here. I was just talking to them about tires here, and crew chief Rodney Haygood told me, he said, so far everything is great. Rick Corelli says he feels great. He's really getting through 1 and 2 fantastic. I just talked to Ron Hornaday's team down there in the 16 truck, and they say they too feel that their tires are holding up well, but they are holding their breath.
So a lot of teams tiptoeing around here right now. There's a look at Hornaday, who is in 3rd place. Sauter 4th, Hubert 5th, Ron Barfield holding on to 6th. Jimmy Hensley 7th. That's the first Dodge in the race. Kevin Sawinski is up to 8th place, started way in the back. Randy Tolsma is 9th. Mike Wallace, the hometown hero, this day is 10th. Jimmy Hensley gave Mark McGuire an autographed helmet at the ballpark Wednesday night. Kind of a neat deal.
What'd Mark give Jimmy?
I don't know. Rick Corelli in 1997 at this juncture of the season was 7th in points with 14 top 10s. He comes into this race 13th in points with only 8 top 10 finishes. As we mentioned, Rodney Haygood, new crew chief there for Marshall Chesron's team, and boy, they're seeing results right away. Now we'll look back at the distance. It's 1.7 seconds to Jack Sprague. Randy's in his pit.
We said they were concerned a few laps ago about seeing a whiff of smoke on the 24 truck, but Jack Sprague came back over the radio a couple of laps later. He said, I am telling you, this right front is absolutely fine. They all kind of broke up laughing. I think it was more of a relief laughter down here. They hope to God that there is nothing wrong with the right front. They think they may have picked up a little rubber, and it got wedged up in there somewhere between the brake rotor calipers, somewhere in that area. Just caused a little bit of smoke. It's all dissipated now, and he's got the hammer down once again.
Now, check on my list. All the drivers that have had trouble with the right front except Terry Cook were Ford. So we may explore that a little further when we get back. Right now, it's 4 Chevys at the front of this field. country, from race cars to country stars. Connect up to country.com. And check out NASCAR online before, during, and after the race at www.nascar.com, your 24-hour garage pass. Watching for Butch Miller there, back at Rick Crawford. Rick Corelli, this is the 4th race that Rick has led this year, 10th in the history of the Craftsman Truck Series. He's one of, I think, 4 drivers to have run every series race since its inception. He led at Homestead, Odessa, Richmond, now here at St. Louis.
He's one of those guys that would like a win before this year's over. He's won before in the Craftsman Truck Series. Runs competitive every week, but it's been a while since he won.
So look back at this battle here for 9th place. As we're having a look. 5 drivers have started every race in this series. Corelli, Butch Miller, Joe Ruttman, Jack Sprague, and Ron Hornaday. Here is Dennis Setzer. You're riding with Setzer inside number 31.
There's Randy Tolsma in tow. It looks like they're both going to get by Sawinski.
Yeah, Kevin had fought his way up to 8th place. Here comes Tolsma. Now, Randy Tolsma's team announced last week they were leaving the series. Steve Calder and IWX Motor Freight, Dave Fuge reuniting with going into the Busch Grand National Series with Derek Cope, one of Fuge's former drivers. So does that leave Randy Tolsma brokenhearted? Not exactly. He's kind of like the girl nobody asked out because she had a boyfriend. The day the boyfriend announced he was going in the Army, suddenly the phone started ringing off the wall, and that's what's happened to Randy.
Yeah, I don't think he has anything signed up yet, but I think there's a lot of people interested in talking to him. I think he'll come out here with something.
He told me this morning he's down to about 5. You know, he's got it narrowed down to a handful. He said a handful of offers that include both Busch Series and Truck Series teams. And he says, you know, the important thing may not be just whose piece is capable of running up front, but how I can work with them and they can work with me and how we can advance each other. So he's got a number of good offers to pick through, and he is a good young talent, good with sponsors, good with the media, and he's got a bright future ahead. So good things ahead for Randy Tolsma, even though the team is leaving the series. Upper left is your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here comes Jimmy Hensley on the inside.
The last few laps here, we did have Stacy Compton back on pit road under the green with the hood up. He had some trouble. And Terry Cook has just made another pit stop for another shredded right front tire. And the 31 truck of Sawinski is making his entrance onto pit road at a very slow rate of speed. His right front tire is blown as well.
Yeah, he was 7th just 6 laps ago, and you see what happens with one of those shreds. It's not a pretty sight as he brings the Brevax truck to pit lane. 96 laps complete. We're past halfway. 80 laps was halfway. 160 the distance. 160 laps, 200 miles.
I'm just amazed at all these blown tires. Those interliners are really working.
Caution's out, caution's out, caution's out.
There may have been debris on the track from Sawinski's tire, and that has brought us to the caution for the 3rd time today. Well, we'll see who's going to stop and who's going to stay when we come back. Rick Corelli is leading Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday, Jay Sauter, and Tom Hubert. Caution out for debris here at Gateway, just across the river from the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. And we're getting position for pit stops. Now, all the teams took on right side tires at about lap 45. So, Chuck, on this pit stop, if all things were normal, they'd come in and take on, since they're only allowed 2 per caution, they'd take on left side tires.
Yes, that's true. But under the circumstances, I think everybody will put on rights, and they'll hope that a caution will come out in the next few laps. Then they'll come back in and get lefts. But I don't think you'll see anybody just putting on lefts right now under these circumstances.
All right, Mike Hogwood's waiting on Rick Corelli there in the Remax pits. Rodney Haygood and crew set to go over the wall. Let's go to Mike.
All right, Rick Corelli is coming in. He's told his crew no adjustments, anything, just fuel and tires. He is really excited, this former Winston West champion, a guy who won this truck series in 1996. They are putting right sides on. Now, Ron Hornaday is in. The story is not the same. They're making a major chassis adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. To Randy.
About some confidence in the Jack Sprague pits. Left side tires going on the GMAC Chevrolet of Hendrick Motorsports down and away.
Hornaday did the same thing. He took on left sides, where the 3 truck of Jay Sauter and the 6 truck that was leading to Rick Corelli, they both took on right sides. Who knows what'll happen.
Dennis Setzer took on left side tires. So did Hornaday. So did Mike Wallace. Everybody else took on another set of right side tires. See how that plays out. Let's have a look at today's Dodge Innovation in Motion with Randy Pemberton.
Well, Mike, we talked a lot about throughout this race about people being able to use overdrive. Several of the teams up in the top 5, even in the top 10, are utilizing that when they need it. You would have to consider that to be very innovative in a place that really resembles Darlington, only a little bit smaller. Of course, Winston Cup and Busch teams use those Jericho transmissions on road courses, as well as when the Cup cars go to Pocono. One team you'd have to consider innovative for not using it, really. Fred Wanke, crew chief for Jimmy Hensley. You guys decided not to go with it. Why?
Well, the biggest reason we didn't have a transmission to put together in time. But we just really didn't think it was going to be that beneficial. Now that we've been here, it would have been nice to have been able to try it. But the Cummins Dodge is doing better than we expected. We've kind of struggled since we've been here, and Jimmy's doing a real good job, so we'll just see what happens.
Okay, the driver also being innovative out there. They've been kind of running the high line, trying to take care of that right front.
Well, Randy, 17 trucks are on the lead lap here. I didn't get note of every one of them, but of the dozen that I tracked during pit stops, only 4 of them put on the left side tires to change the tires that have been on there since the start of the race. Those were Ron Hornaday, Dennis Setzer, Mike Wallace, and Jack Sprague. Looked like everyone else who was on the lead lap took on right side tires. Now, of the teams that are 1 lap down, only Joe Ruttman and Terry Cook took on left side tires. They've both recently been in the pits under green for right sides. So it'll be interesting to see how the teams play this out. With the exception of Terry Cook, I believe I'm correct, Chuck, that all of the teams that have cut down right front tires, though, have been Fords. Coincidence or what?
Well, there was Andy Houston, too.
You're right. Thank you. Yep.
Right front of Chevrolet.
You're right. Let's go. Now, Jack Sprague has taken over the lead from Rick Corelli on pit stops. Let's go to Corelli's pit and Mike.
Well, Randy Haygood, is a crew chief for the first time. He had quite a call to make, and he made it with just the right sides. Then he admitted later, it is a gamble. They know it's a gamble, but it's a gamble that they thought they had to take. Ron Hornaday, though, they weren't taking a gamble. As you said, Mike, they have taken left sides. And Ron Hornaday's team, Fred Graves, also tells me that they're real close on fuel right now about going the distance.
There's that number 10 truck. You saw on Lonnie Rush's truck, Ohio State on the side of Rush's truck. The team, I don't think they knew until they got here this weekend that Missouri plays Ohio State today. So it might not be the most popular truck here in St. Louis.
We've got some fast trucks in the 1 lap down lane here with Mike Bliss and Biffle and Ruttman. They're all trying to get a lap back from Sprague and get back in the hunt here, but I don't know if they'll be able to do it.
No, we don't know the score of the game. All right, getting set for the restart.
Go.
Green flag. And Jack Sprague with fresh left side tires brings him down into turn 1. Corelli in second has rights, and Hornaday in third has lefts. That's Mike Bliss
taking a look on the inside. He wants to get back on that lead lap, back into the hunt.
Here they come 3 wide for a moment just behind. And Bliss has passed Sprague. Now the door's open on the bottom lane. Not going to do anything with Sprague there, not just now. We're looking a little further back here behind that lead pack. A little bit of paint exchange. Here comes Ruttman up the inside. Corelli is right behind Sprague. Now that's Biffle, rather. Biffle gets underneath of Corelli. And here comes Hornaday in 16.
Now, Hornaday and Corelli are racing for position, for the second position. And the other two are just trying to get back in the lead lap. Looks like Sauter's going to slide in between Hornaday and Corelli.
Yes, Jay Sauter's right there. Here comes Hornaday up the outside. Rick Corelli moves up to cover the spot.
Well, he's wanting to put that throttle down. You can hear it, but he just can't do it. Not enough grip.
3 abreast a look, and then Biffle moves back up in the high groove. Here comes Corelli on the bottom. He's the second place truck. Do that.
That was some serious rubbing.
Well, the smartest guy in that move was Hornaday, because if he hadn't lifted, he would have been right into the back of Corelli. By Hornaday easing up, you saw it let Jay Sauter get alongside. Oh, Hornaday way up in the marbles as Corelli climbed the hill up in turn 3. Top of the screen is MCI timing and scoring. And now Hornaday fights for the bottom of the racetrack to stay ahead of Jimmy Hensley, the 5th place truck.
Clear all around.
Not going to be easy.
I think Hornaday got just high enough in 3 and 4 that he trashed his tires a little bit. He was slow off turn 4, give Jimmy Hensley a run, but looks like he's going to hold him off.
So Rick Corelli trying to fight his way back to the front and battle Jack Sprague. Now he's got Jay Sauter right there. See how close it got here. Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, Corelli was pinched on the inside. He's trying to keep it off of Greg Biffle in the 50, and it just got a little loose on him, and they slapped 2 or 3 times. But everybody's okay and still going.
Biffle was good to keep it under control. Butch Miller has gone to the garage. He's taken the Dana machine.
He was still on
the
the lead lap, having a decent day too. He was looking like he was headed for a good finish.
This battle is 2nd and 3rd. Now both Sauter and Corelli took on right side tires during this last pit stop. Sprague is a 1 second ahead of these two.
10.
Let's have a look back into this next pack. It is led by the 78 of Randy Renfro, who's 5 laps off the pace. Getting a little high up there is the 66 of Tom Hubert.
Randy, since the previous restart, he's been keeping up with the
They're
the
not
front pack.
thinking very well right now.
It's too bad he's 5 laps down. He'd be headed for a good run today.
Now, Tom Hubert is on the lead lap, number 66.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He started deep in the pack. He's been nice and steady and smooth.
Now you're listening to the chatter on Jimmy Hensley's radio as they're trying to get Hensley up past Tom Hubert. Jimmy's in 6th. Up front, Jack Sprague tries to put a lap on Mike Bliss and pin Bliss again a lap down.
And Biffle trying to get by Sprague to get back on the lead lap. So those guys are racing pretty hard right there.
Yeah, right now the 2 and the 50 are battling for position. But as long as the leader splits them, if the caution comes out, it means the Bliss gets the free pass around the racetrack and Biffle does not.
That's right. In the meantime, Corelli's reeling in the leader.
He and Jay Sauter are going to be there in a couple of laps.
Those lap trucks will slow the leader's brake down just a little bit, but he can't get too crazy with him. He's got to take care of that right front tire.
And Hornaday is right there as well. There's a little smoke
smoke's
there.
getting a little heavier off Sprague's truck. Yeah. I hope it's nothing serious. It just might be the newness in the grip of the tires that's making the fender rub just a little bit.
I don't know, Randy.
Well, there have been a couple of drivers saying that somebody is leaking fluid. Whether or not it's the Sprague truck or not, we don't know. These guys down here certainly say they are not, which they would. But we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. They're looking at it close as it goes by into 1.
Joe Ruttman is on pit road. This would be the 2nd unscheduled green flag stop for Ruttman today, who started on the outside pole and was a contender in the first half of this race. 49 laps to go. I've been a digit off all day. 49 laps to go, not 50. 35 years.
I believe it's another right front on Ruttman's.
Yeah, it is. Well,
he
this
just
time
took lefts on that previous caution, so because he thought those rights were new enough, but his truck's being hard on right front tires today.
And this time, Randy, looks like they're taking no chances.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I mean, it's absolutely a shredded right front. There is nothing they can do about it, evidently, for the setup now. Joe's just going to have to go out there and pedal it nice and easy for the rest of this and save a really nice Roush truck.
So Ruttman will fall, I'm going to guess, to 3 laps down.
And I believe the smoke is increasing on Jack Sprague's truck. Whether it's a serious problem or not, I don't know, but it is starting to do a little bit more.
I'm not just trying to get people to watch to the finish. I know you're not. I'm kidding. Jack Sprague leads by 0.6 of a second. He's been to victory lane a few times this year. Rick Corelli, the 2nd place truck, has not. It's been a while since Bristol, Tennessee. And I think 1996, when Corelli won his first and only so far Craftsman Truck Series race. Well, that smoke, now that's got to start to be getting on the windshields of these trucks.
I see Corelli's back racing with Biffle. They had that, they banged together here a few laps ago, but now he's, well, I thought he cleared him, but I guess he hasn't. Biffle's still out there.
One thing we've seen, Chuck, most of the day is the truck that comes off that 4th corner on the high side gets a better run into the straightaway.
16's on your bumper. Don't let him take your air.
And that's Greg Biffle's spotter. Oh, is he going? Is he going? It's gone. No, it's not.
Say hi. Say hi.
Sorry,
you okay, Greg?
I was at the ballpark there for a moment, and caution is out.
I think we're okay.
So you heard his spotter.
Yellow's flying. Keep coming. Maybe you beat him to the line. Be careful, though.
Fourth caution of the day.
You can.
You heard Greg Biffle's spotter telling him, be careful, Hornaday's on your rear bumper. What happens when the truck gets up real close behind you, the air leaves your rear spoiler, it goes to that truck behind you, and that's what happens. You get loose. It's real tricky.
So Greg Biffle tried to mark McGuire the turn 1 wall, and well, as they say, he got a piece of it.
That's not a good thing in motorsports.
Nope, it's definitely not a good thing. No dingers.
Until the second time. Pits are closed. You can't come.
Tough break for Biffle.
Last time.
For 2 races in a row now, he's been fast. He's been up front.
Talk to me.
And he's not going to get to victory lane.
What side did we do last time?
You can't hear us, but they did right side.
Did right
so, you know.
We got to put lefts on it then.
So Biffle will be in, and I think a lot of
on.
teams will be in for tires this time. We'll chart those pit stops when we come back to Gateway International Raceway live on TNN. Well, everybody that was in last time for 1 set of tires is coming back in for the other set. Mike?
Yeah, Ron Hornaday came in right side. They feel they're good to go, and this is the move they need to make. Meanwhile, 2 of the front runners, including the leader, Rick Corelli, did not come in at all. Corelli and Jay Sauter are on the left side tires they started this race on. Pretty bold move by Rodney Haygood, who's in his first day as a crew chief on this 6 truck.
But that's where it's kind of a crapshoot. There's 2 tires per caution. The last time in, both Sprague and Hornaday took on lefts, and they were very fortunate. They only had to do about 10 green flag laps, and they get to come right back in and get 2 new rights. Now, they're looking good, but had a guy taking rights earlier, you hated to come back in now just for left sides, because sometimes just left sides will make you tight. When you get tight, the right front tire pops.
Right, long stop for the 35 of Ron Barfield with the hood up, and they are still working on Rick Crawford's truck. That's a very long stop there. And finally, he gets dropped off the jack and can go. Randy?
Well, we're trying to get a word with Dennis Conner down here. He is the crew chief for Jack Sprague. He is currently talking to his driver on the headset. We'll see if we can come over here and step in and get a word with him. Dennis, this has been an unusual race. A lot of people having trouble with right front tires. You guys not necessarily so, yet they say that the truck is smoking on occasion. What is the story?
The truck's been real loose, and when he's really getting after it, I think probably the majority of that smoke that we're seeing is off the tires. As you can see, we just pitted and there's nothing on pit road. Jack says there's nothing leaking. He knows what it is. So I'd say what he knows what it is the control of that right foot that he's got down there. When he controls her, it doesn't smoke. When it does, you see a little bit of smoke. Hopefully that's what it is.
So what can be the strategy for the remainder of this race for you guys? Is there any at this point? You got to kind of let the race come to you.
Well, when you're running for the championship, you can't afford to roll as big a dice as people who have no chance whatsoever of winning the championship. They're just looking at winning the race. So we had 70 laps on those right side tires, and even though our wear from the first stop with 45 laps on them looked good, we couldn't afford to roll the dice and take a chance. We had to put right side tires on the Team GMC Chevrolet.
Okay, good luck to you. Mike Hogwood?
We're with Rodney Haygood, who has made the call not to come in. You're on those original left side tires. Are they going to hold up?
They were pretty good all day in practice, so hopefully they'll stay up all right with us.
What's Rick saying about the truck?
It's a little tight right now, so we'll just have to see how it works a little later.
Cool and calm, Rodney Haygood feels confident about his driver.
Well, Rick told me last night, he said, we can put left sides on the truck. Left sides will tighten it up. Right sides will loosen it up. So apparently maybe the truck is running a little tight, and he doesn't want it tighter, so they did not take on lefts. And since they just got rights, they stayed out along with Jay Sauter. Have a look at the Auto Week racing schedule. Remaining events on the Craftsman Truck Series. Every week, Auto Week is first with all the inside news of racing personalities, driving impressions, and everything. Call now for Auto Week. Numbers on your screen. Don't delay. Limited offer.
You notice Mike Bliss got his lap back when that caution came out. He managed to stay ahead of the race leader. Not only that, he did not pit either, as the others did come in and pit. Right now, Mike Bliss not only got his lap back, he's in 5th position. So maybe he's still got a chance at it.
Well, that's why these guys fight so hard to get their laps back, because good things happen, and there is Mike Bliss in 5th place. Randy Tolsma stayed out. He is 3rd. Tony Roper stayed on the racetrack. He is 4th, and so did Mike Bliss. So those 4 drivers, or 5 drivers, did not pit. And are staying on the racetrack. We're going to ride with Mike Bliss for this green flag restart at Gateway. Chris Morgan on the flag stand. Leader is Rick Corelli. It's been 63 races since his last victory, June '96 at Bristol, Tennessee. He's in the corner on the outside of Randy Renfro. Pulls up on, that's the 11 on the inside, Matt Hutter.
It's real important to get by this lap traffic as quickly as you can, because this is the kind of racetrack you need to be able to use the inside and the outside to run fast laps.
So for the first couple laps, traffic will sort out here. Ron Hornaday has a look at Jack Sprague. Drifts up the racetrack just a little bit. Now they are running back in 6th and 7th place. There's that smoke from Sprague in the middle of the straightaway, Chuck, where you would not expect to see tire smoke.
Well, I don't think it's the rear tire spinning from the gas pedal.
No, I don't think so.
Hopefully it's not anything serious and won't hinder his day.
Dennis Conner tells a good story.
Yeah, he does. I'll give him that.
There's a gap back to Hornaday. Trying to reel in Sprague in the 24 once again. Sprague coming up on Mike Bliss, the 5th place truck. Remember, these two have fresh tires. The trucks in front of them do not. Ron, would you have stopped on this caution? What do you think?
Definitely, had I taken lefts on that prior stop like Hornaday and Sprague did, then yeah, I definitely would have come in and got rights.
Yep.
But had I done what Corelli did, I would have had to think about it too. So I don't know. That's why I say it's just sometimes it's just roll with the dice and you just hope you get lucky. But I do think that right now, both Hornaday and Sprague's 4 tires are fairly fresh. I think they're going to be tough. They got 40 laps to get it done.
Well, in Corelli's case, like he said it all depends on how the truck feels, whether we come in again or not, once we have enough gas to go the distance, and they do.
And he was leading the race. It must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, they were in the pits at lap 99, so he must feel the truck would not have been improved by putting on those left side tires. He diamonds the track a little bit there between 1 and 2 as he tries to hold off Jay Sauter.
Yeah, he's like this truck in 1 and 2. He said all day, as Mike Hoffman told us earlier, it's fast down there.
Qualified 4th, and here's Sauter, who started right behind in 5th.
He just got to figure out how to beat him off of that corner now. Flat.
That is chatter on Jay Sauter's radio.
He's telling Jay to set him up, figure out how to beat him off the corner.
Between you and the 3rd place truck. Nobody behind you putting no pressure on you. Work on this leader now.
Talking about the 99 of Joe Ruttman. Todd Barrier, the crew chief for Jay Sauter. DeLon Swaim is spotter. They're kind of letting Jay figure this one out now.
And he's not having to worry about downshifting to 3rd and back to 4th. They've elected to go just direct drive in 4th gear this entire weekend. Working well for him.
Yeah, and Corelli is hungry. I mean, they have pretty much rebuilt that team with the departure of George Church and bringing in Rodney Haygood as crew chief. And,
both those guys are hungry. Jay Sauter hasn't had a win yet either this year. And he knows he's in a good truck, and they've come close a lot of times, just for whatever reason, hasn't happened.
Hanging there with him now, learn.
Funny thing is, there's been a good bit of conversation in the garage area between the crew chiefs of these 2 trucks, between Barrier and Haygood, trading information and setups and ideas back and forth, and they've done a good job. Both the Richard Childress and the Marshall Chesrone truck at the front of the pack have run very well all day. And there's Joe Ruttman, who, but for 2 right front tires cut down, could be running right with the leaders, and instead he is 2 laps back. Those 2 are pretty equal, Chuck.
They really are. Sometimes they'll gain a little, sometimes they'll lose a little. Right now, you just got to try to make the perfect smooth laps and not abuse the tires. You can't slide on these radial tires. They don't like that.
Randy Tolsma runs in 3rd. He's in the 2nd pack behind this one. Mike Bliss is 4th. Jack Sprague, then Tony Roper, then Ron Hornaday. Jimmy Hensley, Tom Hubert, and Scott Walters is up to 10th. Good run for Scott today.
I'm surprised Bliss has been able to hold off Sprague since the restart with Sprague's new right side tires. So I don't know, maybe these guys at the front did the right thing.
Well, it seems they did the right thing for how their truck was working at the time. We'll see how it plays out. 32 laps to go here in St. Louis. 28 laps to go here at Gateway in the Craftsman Truck Series inaugural appearance here. Mike Joy with Chuck Bound. And Rick Corelli has been the class of the field here ever since he forewent a pit stop. He and Jay Sauter both on a apparent two-stop strategy, and they lead the field. And the two Chevrolets, the Remax and Goodwrench Chevrolets. Then there's Joe Ruttman, who is 2 laps down as a result of cut right front tire in the Exide Ford. And here's Randy Tolsma, the IWX Motor Freight Chevy. He is in 3rd place. Has a lot of offers for next year, trying to decide which one to take. Jack Sprague, 4th place truck.
Yeah, he's catching him too. He's running down from a ways back. He's going to make a race of it. It's not over yet for Pirelli and Sauter. They're going to have their hands full at 24 here pretty soon. Terry Cook, he's been running strong, but he's had multiple right front tire problems.
Yep, he is 4 laps. 4 laps down in the Pro Bowlers truck. Mike Bliss in the number 2 is the 5th place truck, and Ron Hornaday in number 16. He is 6th. Hornaday going to lose a little ground in the battle for the point chase unless things move up. Now Tony Roper in 55 is 7th, and Tom Hubert in a 1-race drive for Dale Phelan is 8th and having a really good run today.
Doing a good job.
9th will be the 43 of Jimmy Hensley. The King is here. Richard Petty is on him, and one of the voices on the radio to Jimmy. Running in 9th place, the highest placed Dodge in the field right now. Been a tough day for Randy Renfro. He's currently in 25th position, 5 laps down. Lost a bunch of laps right off the start of the race.
Yeah, but he's kept up with the front runners pretty much the entire race.
Early pit stop hurt Renfro's Dodge. And Scott Walters is the 10th place truck. He's had a good run today.
Yeah, he has. He stayed out of trouble and hasn't made a lot of noise, but he's still on that lead lap, hanging in there.
11th will be Mike Wallace. Ken Schrader's truck, number 52. Homecoming.
Local boy.
Yeah. Homecoming. He went to Cardinal Stadium throughout the first ball. He said he wasn't a big ball fan growing up because he followed his dad's racing. His younger brother Kenny was the ball fan. He used to imitate Jack Buck, the Cards announcer, and still does. You know Kenny does.
Yeah.
All right, the 29, the Keselowski truck, Dennis Setzer in the Mopar Dodge. He's running in 12th place. He's been on the lead lap all day. A little bit of duct tape there on the left front. Brian Reffner in 13th place, also a lead lap truck, and so is the blue number 14 of Rick Crawford. Now Kevin Harvick, Lance Norrick, and Ron Barfield are also on the lead lap. As Greg Biffle stops, Randy's there.
Well, once again, right front tire. Tough day for the pole sitter. He's got 3 poles in his career, but never has he been able to win a Winston Cup race. It must be something with the Roush guys. Maybe they got together on their chassis setups. What do you think about that, Chuck? You think that might have something to do with it?
Well, you know, it's a big part of it, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
As this race winds down for the Roush team, every 25 laps, it's time to change the donuts. 138 are complete. 22 to go here at Gateway. We'll be right back with you live on TNN. All right, 20 laps to go. There's your leader, Rick Corelli. There's your 2nd place truck, Jay Sauter. And look who's filling up their rear view mirror.
Yeah,
Where did he come from?
When we were gone to break, he got by Randy Tolman for the 3rd position, and then he got by Ruttman, the lap truck that was running 3rd on the racetrack. And here he is. He can see those guys now.
Boy, and they know he's there.
Catching him is one thing, passing him is another, but Sprague's tires are the freshest, and he has about 19 laps to try to get it done. But those 2 guys in front of him are hungry. They're looking for a win for the first time in a while.
Jack Sprague's within 0.6 of a second of the lead. But first he has to get past Jay Sauter. And then Rick Corelli, 2 guys that are hungry to win. And remember, Dennis Conner told us Sprague is big picture racing. He's got a championship at stake here. And Corelli is out of the hunt. and Sauter a bit less so. I think either one of them would rather have a win right now than the points for second or third. Trouble for Mike Bliss. Another right front tire, perhaps. And that'll take, yeah, it'll take Bliss off the lead lap again.
Yep, he worked hard to get back on the lead lap into contention. Now he's going right back down.
18 laps to go.
That's been the story of Mike's season. He's been fast all year, and he just can't get a break.
Look at the steering wheel there vibrate. Yep.
Yeah, when that rubber starts jumping off that tire, it's shaking all over the place.
So Bliss, who pitted at lap 100, will have to come in, and caution is out again. Now what do you do? Fifth caution of the day.
See, I'm not sure what they'll do.
Fifth caution of the day. 15 trucks are on the lead lap. If you're Corelli or Sauter, do you pit or not? Stopped on the racetrack at start finish. I think this is an adjustment to put him back in the proper position in the running order.
Yeah, I'd say he thought he got his lap back, and NASCAR said, no, you didn't. So they're going to hold him and put him back.
Wishful thinking. There is the last tire to come off the right front of Mike Bliss's truck.
We've seen a lot of that today.
Yep. Going to be 12 or 13 laps left to run. Mike Hogwood, you're down there kind of splitting the distance between the Jay Sauter and the Rick Corelli pit, and neither one came in.
And there was no decision to be made. When they didn't take those left sides on early on, and you know, Todd Barrier told me he planned to go with the same left sides all day today from the very beginning, that was part of their strategy in this race today, and that they just told those two drivers, both crew chiefs, hang on, go for it when we go green.
Morissette completes a stop, and he is 2 laps off the pace right now in 19th. Simo Federated Auto Parts 4.
I didn't notice when it happened, but it looks like Hornaday's gotten by Randy Tolsma for the 4th position, so he's trying to get himself back up in the thick of it.
Yep, Tolsma is running in 5th with Hubert in 6th. It's been a big week for Mike Wallace. All the Wallace brothers grew up and watched their dad race right here around St. Louis, so we went on the homecoming tour with Mike Wallace this week.
Hi, I'm Mike Wallace, and welcome to St. Louis. The racetrack itself has not changed at all. I mean, everything that you're seeing, matter of fact, all the grandstands and everything, it's just everything was so much brighter back years ago. My wife was talking about it over here. I said, the school was fairly easy. I said, I didn't really put a lot of effort towards it. She said, well, maybe just think about how much better off you would have been if you would have put a little effort towards it. I said, all right, play ball. Tim was the one who caught the 60-second ball. Mark McGuire hit over, right over there under the Konica sign. I seen it. Then he stood up after the game and says, Mr. McGuire, I think this belongs to you.
That's the way you do it, right?
Yeah, rub that. No, it's like this.
It is. Good job, Mike.
Big week for Mike Wallace. Right now he runs in 10th position in the Purolator number 52 of Ken Schrader. Getting set for a restart. Going to be one more lap here. Get the field lined up and get cleanup completed before we go back to green, and that will leave us 11 laps to go. Randy Pemberton.
Actually, Mike Tolsma did move over for the 16 of Ron Hornaday to take that position under caution, so it must have been a gentleman's agreement. Mike, do you know anything more about it?
Well, there are some reports that Tolsma may have lost a cylinder. There's been a lot of talk between the 61 and 16. Ron Hornaday, though, did say that he felt he beat him back to the line out of there, and I'm not sure that NASCAR might have made an adjustment in the lineup there.
I think that's more likely the case. I'm not sure if you have the option of surrendering one spot under caution. You can pull to the side and drop to the tail end of the line, but I'm not sure if you can selectively wave people by.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't
they're
think
on the lead lap, not just this guy, but not the next guy. No, I think Hornaday must have simply beat him back to the yellow, which I didn't catch it, but they've got Hornaday up in the 4th position now.
So we're set to go back to green, and they will have 11 laps to run. Rick Corelli is your race leader out of Denver, Colorado. You saw a brief shot earlier of his wife Kathy up on top of the war wagon scoring for the team. She also does the team publicity. George Schillinger's their spotter up on the roof. Rodney Haygood, the new crew chief. One of their sponsors is the Department of Transportation, the trucking division, the no zone, which is the area, the blind spot off the quarter panels of tractor trailer trucks, and they're warning folks to stay out of the no zone. Wonder if they told Jack Sprague.
I doubt it.
We'll see. All right, Lonnie Rush is lined up right next to the lead truck as we get set to go back to green. Rick Corelli has to hold him off for 11 laps to win his second Craftsman Truck Series race and his first of the season. He's got Jay Sauter right behind him, and Jack Sprague on fresher tires in third, then Ron Hornaday, Randy Tolsma, Tom Hubert, Dean Roper, Jimmy Hensley, Scott Walters, and Mike Wallace, the top 10. There are 6 more trucks on the lead lap, and we're back to green. Hornaday Corelli got a jump.
Lonnie Rush did a nice thing too, slowed down the lap lane and let those leaders go at it. You see that lot.
No, it's a favor that hopefully will be repaid. Randy Tolsma didn't get off to a great start, slipped up in the groove there in turn 1. Sauter is right with Corelli, and they've got some distance on Jack Sprague. Whoa, Redman almost got pinballed into the middle of the field there.
It was really crowded down that back straightaway in the middle of the pack.
For the lead, turn 4, here they come. Sauter got the inside on Corelli, and they are dead even down the front straightaway. That will allow Sprague to close right. Now is the high side better in turns 1 and 2. Little wiggle out of Sauter.
It's showtime too. This is it. Nobody will give anything now.
And now Sprague is there. Corelli by half a car length. Sauter's going to have to shove it in there deep, and he does.
Hornaday's coming into the picture here in a second too. This is going to be good.
4 trucks under a
Sauter
blanket.
just wiggled. Oh, here comes Hornaday. What a break. Sauter wiggled. Sprague had the lift, and Hornaday's now in second.
Ron Hornaday is the most opportunistic driver I have seen since Richie Evans. He knew where the opening would be if something happened. He just flat-footed it and took advantage of it. And now Sauter and Sprague will fight for third. The question, does Rick Corelli now have enough of a cushion to last 8.5 laps?
Now, he's looking better than he was a couple laps ago. I still think Sprague may have the fastest truck of the 4, but he's got a lot of trucks and distance between himself and the leader.
Corelli rounds it off turn 4 as Sauter goes back after Hornaday, and now Sprague, more smoke from the right front. And he really has a lot of work to do now. Remember, too, the championship battle. Hornaday is right now 2 spots in front of Jack Sprague after a bold move.
I don't know if it was as bold as it was just fortunate. To the right place at the right time. When the door opens, you got to jump in there.
Last lap, Corelli led by 0.7 of a second. See what happens as they come around. It'll be 7 laps to go.
He's finally got ahead of him enough that he can kind of quit worrying about him and focus on making the perfect lap. Don't watch some air. Don't worry about somebody taking the air off your spoiler because they're not right there. And just hustle that thing home. But a lot can still happen. There are 7 laps to go.
He lost a 10th. Last lap he was 0.75 seconds ahead. Now he's 0.67 ahead. That might be just enough. Well, Jay Sauter, remember, is not racing for that championship like Hornaday and Sprague are. He would like Rick Corelli's spot. 4th turn. 6 laps to go. Corelli's lead, the same. 65/100ths of a second. Corelli, a front runner in Winston West, a Southwest Tour champion. Had a brief fling at Winston Cup racing a couple of years ago. And his is the only team in this series, full-time team, that is not based in the traditional NASCAR South between Georgia and Virginia, or mostly right around Charlotte. They are based in Denver, Colorado, and haul there after every race. 5 laps to go.
5 to go.
Hornaday is catching it. He's reeling him in.
0.54 seconds. Those tenths keep getting shaved off the watch. You see Corelli running a higher line, especially in turn 2, than anybody else. He's had the same left side tires the entire race. He has stopped twice for right sides. About lap 45, and lap 99, everybody else came in. Slowing down is Roper. He's going to surrender 6th spot.
Watch Kroll low in turn 1 and 2.
That's why bit of oil smoke out of that truck. 26 will go past. There's that high line. It continues to work for Rick Corelli.
As long as he keeps it smooth and straight like he's been doing, I think Hornaday's going to run out of time.
Hornaday and Corelli battled each other through the Winter Heat Championship Series here on TNN that preceded the official opening of the Craftsman Truck Series. They're good friends off the track and hard competitors on the track, but there's a lot of mutual respect between the two. 3 laps to go this time by, and it's stabilized 0.6 of a second. There's Hornaday racing for the championship and just 2 positions ahead of Jack Sprague.
Right now, I'd rather be in Corelli's position than Hornaday's position. I think Corelli is looking pretty good. Man, he needs a win. He's won in this truck series a few times, but it's been a while.
1996 Bristol, 1 win.
Hornaday is reeling him in, though. He's the best at putting the heat on in the closing laps.
How long is 0.6 of a second? When you're sitting in Ron Hornaday's position, it's a long time. Of course, that's now down to 0.3 of a second.
It's more like 2 truck laps.
But it's only 2 laps to go.
Yep.
Here comes Hornaday. Now, as we saw earlier, if he can get tied up under Corelli, take the air off that spoiler,
yep.
Rick Corelli's going to have a handful, but we're coming down to the final lap.
They can both wiggle and Sauter go into things. You just never know.
Jay Sauter is holding off Jack Sprague by about 2 truck lengths. In the air is going to be the white flag for Rick Corelli. But Ron Hornaday is there just 2 truck lengths back as they go into turn 1 for the final time. Hornaday inside. Not quite there. Corelli pulls him down the back straightaway.
Got 1 more corner.
And Jay Sauter is close. If either driver misses up, Sauter will be right there. Final turn. Final lap. Hornaday right to the bumper trying to loosen up Rick Corelli, and he slides up the hill.
He drove it in a little extra deep to get on that bumper, and that cost him next in the corner. Looks like Corelli's going to be able to hold him off and get that long-deserved victory.
Rick Corelli scores his first win of the season and the second of his Craftsman Truck Series career. First win in 63 starts. George Schillinger, team manager, is going to have to get out that razor. Let's go down to the winning pit. Here's Mike.
Oh, Rodney, hey, good. Your first day as crew chief, and here you are. What a call, not taking on left side tires.
Well, this cat's won over 500 main events in his career. I'm telling you, he is the best. We give him something that run good. The boys from the 3 truck helped us out a little bit, and I'm telling you, they're awesome.
You made some good decisions today, too. How do you feel?
Hey, I'm telling you, I got the best guys around. I'm telling you, they're awesome.
All right, Rick Corelli winning for the first time in this series since '96. Rodney Haygood, a man of few words, but there is quite a lot of emotion down here in the Corelli pit, and some congratulations from the 16 team as well, and the 3 team, well deserved, and a pretty happy day for the Rick Corelli team. Mike?
That's pretty neat. The whole Goodwrench pit emptied as all of Jay Sauter's crew came over to congratulate the Remax team. Well, Corelli's going to take a victory lap.
What do you
well-deserved one here.
What do you think? He'll be a little happy in victory lane, huh?
I'll tell you.
Nothing like winning.
I'm glad we're not flying out till tomorrow, because this is going to be quite a party. Plasticoat, the official spray paint of NASCAR, is proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award, presented to Rodney Haygood from the Remax Chevrolet team. That's $1,000 to the crew chief of the highest finishing truck team eligible. At the end of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish gets $10,000. So congratulations to Rodney, to Rick Corelli, to race team owner Marshall Chesrone, and everybody who's worked on this number 6 this weekend. They've had quite a week. I mean, with the last weekend's doubleheader, if you will, going from Richmond and then to Memphis, and they've had to run back to Denver, reload, regroup, get ready to go. Rick Corelli is going to try to thread his way one more time, this time through those stop trucks and into victory lane. A couple of high fives from some of the Jay Sauter and Ron Hornaday crews, and a Gatorade bath from Hornaday. That's pretty good.
He's trying to find victory lane.
You don't even see the opposing driver give you the Gatorade shower. And off Corelli goes to victory lane. First time in a long time. It's going to be a pretty happy scene.
he didn't luck into it. He was a contender all day. He's run good all weekend. He's run a good, smart race, a good pit strategy, and they come out on top.
The High Plains Drifter. There's his wife, Kathy, there in the window, and some of the other folks who want to get their faces on TV.
That'll work. Rick, come on out as soon as you can, man, okay?
Well, he said he wouldn't stop unless he felt he could improve the truck with those left side tires, and he didn't. So it is Rick Corelli climbing up for the big wave and the big win. Second of the Craftsman Truck Series career for Corelli, and his first of the season, first in a year and a half. Randy Pemberton's there.
June 22nd, 1996, 63 races ago. You've been dying for this one. You guys had an excellent run. You drove a great race.
I'll tell you what, man, we knew how to lose them, you know, and it's so hard to win them, you know, but I want to thank this Remax Chevrolet. It was awesome. Goodyear was awesome. And I'll tell you what, we've had ups and downs, and we've done great, but one guy that helped me this week, me and Todd Barrier talked on the phone for an hour and a half. And that guy set me up over the phone, helped me out. I'll tell you what, it's all about teamwork, and that guy's one of the best one that goes. We raced hard. We had a good truck. Me and Biffle got together. I got a little tight, but you know what? It didn't matter. I wasn't going to give it up because I know how to lose them here. But I'll tell you what, this sure feels great how to win them. And Dominic and Calissa, yeah. Yeah.
All the pit crew is giving these guys congratulations, deservedly so. Mike?
Todd Barrier in to congratulate Kelly Hunt from the Goodrich team. And big win for Chevrolet here today in St. Louis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gateway in St. Louis, where the Craftsman Truck Series has had an impressive debut. And Mike Hogwood, it looks unofficially like Ron Hornaday is close to within 5 points of Jack Sprague.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday, great run. In the points chase, you're now within 5 points. It looks like almost had him there on the final lap.
Well, I tell you, if it wasn't for Rick Corelli and another Chevrolet, we might have just given a love tap. I don't know if we had a better truck, but we definitely on a longer run we can catch Ricky. And a reverse play before I won one like that from Ricky. But I got to thank Fred Graves, Napa Chevrolet, Napa Brakes, Goodyear, awesome tire again, and Action, they're number one in collectibles to me. But tough race, good day. We just couldn't get going. It took us 15, 20 laps to go, and that's what we have to do, finish top 5.
Another good, consistent run for Ron Hornaday.
That's his wife Lindy with him, and Ron Hornaday closes up right on Jack Sprague's rear bumper. 5 points away. Joe Ruttman, Jay Sauter, Tony Raines. That is the Remax balloon in the background. They have 2 balloons entered in the great St. Louis balloon race today. We saw more than 16 of them take off a little earlier. And some of them are still flying. Some are not, you know. You can't win them all. We'll be right back. Picked up his first victory of the season and second of his Craftsman Truck Series career over Ron Hornaday, Jay Sauter, and Jack Sprague. 4 Chevys at the front of the field today. Tom Hubert, great run in a one-race drive for the 66 team. Jimmy Hensley was the first Dodge in 6th. Rick Crawford, Mike Wallace, Scott Walters, and Brian Reffner, his first ride in the 84. Kevin Harvick, Lance Norrick, Dennis Setzer were the trucks on the lead lap with Ron Barfield, Dean Roper, and Randy Tolsma. Then it was Mike Bliss, Joe Ruttman, Greg Biffle, the pole sitter, and Randy McDonald filling out the top 20. Here's a look further back with everybody from Horn on back in the garage area. 27th on back, we're in the garage. Today's race had 5 cautions for 27 laps. The lead changed hands 9 times among 7 drivers. And Rick Corelli will be the track record holder with an average speed for the 200-mile distance of 128.1 miles an hour, beating Ron Hornaday by 35/100ths of a second. We'll be right back with final thoughts from Gateway International Raceway, where Rick Corelli gets the champagne bag. A conventional strategy with both Rick Corelli and Jay Sauter staying out, not taking on those left side tires at all. But then again, it's not been a conventional day here in St. Louis.
Well, it worked out great for Corelli. He won, but it cost Sauter dropping back to 3rd. He lost 1 position. So, you know, you never know. I think it was a clean race. So I think the drivers showed each other a lot of respect all day. Nobody got together and knocked anybody in the wall. It was a good, clean race, and I congratulate Rick Corelli. He deserved it and run a good race.
Isn't it funny sometimes how a major change, maybe a different engine supplier, maybe a new sponsor coming on board, maybe a new crew chief,
maybe a new paint job, you never know. It's just,
it'll turn a team around, and you know, we know that teams just don't become contenders overnight. But sometimes a change of focus and a little bit different setup can make the difference between just going home, rolling up onto the truck, or rolling into victory lane, as Rick Corelli did today. And you heard in Ron Hornaday's voice as he talked about the mutual respect he and Corelli have. Pretty neat deal for all concerned.
Yeah, it's fun when you win that way, and you know your competitors are happy for you as well. And I think Rick's showing a lot of that today.
There's the whole Remax team shouting as Rick Corelli comes across the line to win the inaugural Craftsman Truck Series event here at Gateway International near St. Louis. The Ram Tough 200 falls to Chevrolet and to Rick Corelli and the Marshall Chevron Remax team. For Chuck Bound, Randy Pemberton, and Mike Hogwood, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Rick Corelli on his first victory of 1998 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So long, everyone.